Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to break down a topic that really affects every single one of us, no matter what our job is: workplace safety. We're going to look at all the key protections that are designed to keep us safe, productive, and healthy. Alright, let's dive right in. So let me ask you a question. When you hear the phrase workplace safety, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, right, it's probably a hard hat or maybe a pair of steel-toed boots, and yeah, that's definitely part of it. But the real picture, it is so much bigger than that. Because you see, true safety isn't just about the gear you wear. It's actually a complete interconnected system. It's about practices, procedures, and principles. It's a whole culture, not just some checklist you have to tick it off. So today we're going to explore what that system really looks like. We're going to start at the very core of it all: safety, that focuses on protecting the individual worker from immediate harm. You know, these are the risks that can directly impact a person's physical well-being day in and day out. First up, we've got occupational safety. Now this is the bedrock of everything else we're going to talk about. It's all the practices designed to prevent injuries right there at the source. The golden rule here: don't just prepare for a hazard, get rid of it completely. I mean, take this scaffolding example. It's not just about wearing a harness so you survive a fall. It's about building a safe, secure platform so that the fall can't even happen in the first place. Next, let's talk about a hazard that's often totally invisible until it's way too late: electricity. The thing to remember about electrical safety is that the most dangerous threats are usually the ones you can't see. And that's exactly why the procedure you see here, de-energizing a panel before any work starts, is absolutely non-negotiable. It's such a simple step, but it transforms a potentially lethal task into just a safe routine repair. Now, not all injuries happen in a sudden accident. Some build up over time, and that's where ergonomic safety comes in. This is all about playing the long game. It's about preventing that slow, creeping damage from strain and repetitive motion that could lead to a career-ending injury down the road. The whole idea isn't just about comfort, it's about sustainability. It's about dovetail leathered to fit the person, not forcing the person to contort themselves to fit the work. Using a lift like this is a perfect example of working smarter, not harder, to protect your future self. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. We've looked at the individual. Now let's look at larger, more complex systems. This next group of safety types deals with managing processes and substances that can pose a huge widespread risk if they're not handled with extreme care. And that brings us to process safety. So if occupational safety is about preventing, say, a slip or a fall, process safety is about preventing a massive fire, an explosion, or a major chemical release. It's all about managing the integrity of entire industrial systems, like constantly monitoring for hazardous gases in a refinery, and closely related to that is machine and equipment safety. Heavy machinery comes with its own unique set of dangers, especially when it's being maintained. So the most critical thing here is the lockout system. It's a simple physical lock that makes sure a machine cannot be accidentally turned on while someone is working on it. It's a straightforward procedure that has literally saved countless lives. Okay, let's talk chemical safety, which really has two critical parts. The first one is passive, but it's absolutely vital: storage. You can't just stick chemicals anywhere you want. Separating substances that don't get along, like acids and alkalis, prevents them from reacting dangerously if there's a spill. The key takeaway here is that real safety planning starts long before a container is even opened. But what happens when those chemicals actually come off the shelf? Well, that brings us to the active side of chemical safety: handling. This is all about using the right personal protective equipment, or PPE, and knowing exactly what to do when something goes wrong. Having spill controls like absorbent pads ready to go means you can contain a small problem before it spirals into a total disaster. And finally, in this section, we have radiation safety. This is all about protecting people from invisible hazards used in fields like medicine or industrial inspections, something called non-destructive testing or NDT. You can think of it like using an X-ray to find flaws in a pipe weld without having to actually cut it open. When you're managing risks you can't see, hear, or feel, it all boils down to three things: minimizing your time, maximizing your distance, and using proper shielding. So far, we've pretty much focused on what happens inside the workplace, but a true safety culture, it recognizes that its responsibility doesn't just stop at the property line. So let's move to our final section and see how this all builds outward. This is environmental safety, and it's the recognition that a workplace is part of a much larger community and ecosystem. The goal here is simple. Make sure that what happens on site doesn't create a harmful legacy for the air, the water, and the land all around it. It's about seeing beyond the immediate toss to the long-term impact and using systems like oil-water separators to be a responsible neighbor, not just a productive business. And that responsibility extends all the way to our roads. I mean, for so many people, a vehicle is their primary workplace. And we're not just talking about big rigs on the highway. This is about delivery vans in a busy city and forklifts in a crowded warehouse. The rules might seem basic. You know where you're settled, watch your speed, stay aware. But when your office is moving at 60 miles an hour, these fundamentals are the most powerful safety systems we have. Alright, so we've looked at safety for the individual, for complex systems, and for the world outside the fence. Now, let's put all of these pieces together and really see the full picture. And here's the most important thing to remember. These aren't just separate, isolated categories. They are all interconnected layers of a single system. I mean, think about it. You can't possibly have effective process safety if your workers aren't protected by good occupational safety. And you can't really claim to have a safe site if your operations are harming the environment around you. It all has to tie together into one thing, creating a comprehensive culture of safety. There's a saying that just gets to the heart of it. A culture of safety is not a destination. It is a continuous journey of improvement. And what that really means is that building a strong safety culture isn't some project with a start and an end date. It's a daily commitment. It's a promise to keep looking, keep listening, and keep finding ways to make tomorrow even safer than today. So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Whether you're a manager, a frontline worker, or maybe just visiting a site, what's one small thing you can do today to contribute to that journey? Because at the end of the day, the safest workplace is one where every single person feels responsible. Thanks for watching.